Oh my God, dude. It's insanity. What are your social media handles, my man? And we're off to the races. Ladies and gentlemen, I am beyond thrilled. The political it's a political circus out there right now, as you know, and we have, the mayor, the incumbent mayor, Mayor Bass, and then we have the councilwoman, Ms. Rahman, and we also have Mr. Spencer Pratt, former reality star, who I used to know back in the day. I used to be a driver, so I drove many luminaries, as some of you guys already know. Tonight is one for the ages because I love comedy. As you know, I have a funny bone. I have family that do comedy. I know a lot of comedians. And I have this cool dude that I just watching some of his stuff. And holy cow, holy shit, holy mother of God, I thought he was hysterical. The guy is unbelievable, and help me welcome. This guy's been doing stand-up comedy for over 30 freaking years. Let that sink in. He's a Canadian a born comedian that now lives in the States and lives in the San Fernando Valley, where near yours truly. So him and I are gonna definitely buy a taco, maybe, or burrito or a burger. Give it up for the one and only Mr. Ron Josol.
Hey man, what's up? Thanks for having me.
What's cracking, brother? How you doing?
Um, I'm grinding. When you're
Yeah.
grinding, you don't feel
Mhm.
anything.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
love that philosophy. That's absolutely the truth. Congratulations. Tip my hat off to all your accomplishments, all your accolades, 30 years of comedy. Holy mother of God, that's like a lot. That's like there are people that are 30 years old right now, and you started. So what you started, you're in your diapers, and how old were you when you started this whole gamut of comedy?
Was 19 and now I'm 51.
All right, right on. Very
Yeah.
cool. Very cool. And would you say, I know we're going to back up a little bit, your early beginnings, humble beginnings, but do you think the comedy world has changed a whole lot, being that we have TikTok and all these social media outlets wherein a lot of people showcase their talents, so people do skits and whatnot? You think it's changed and it's evolved? And is it a good thing or a bad thing?
Well, not only comedy, but the world evolves every month. And so
Hmm.
if you don't keep up with the evolution of whatever you do, whether it's comedy or another form of art or entertainment or job, you're not going to do well. So there's no good or bad. It's just, it's what's new. If you think it's bad, then get out of the system.
Hmm.
So there's no
That's fair.
bad. It's you gotta if you want to live, you got to you you got to evolve. So, for example, uh,
Okay.
jokes change, marketing changes, styles change. A lot of people don't realize that stand-up comedy is no different from music or clothes or style. So, certain jokes and certain styles, like bell-bottom jeans, that will come in every 5 to 10 years back in style. We just now it's back again. We
Yeah.
just went through skinny jeans.
Yeah.
For forever, fat people like us, it's not good for us.
We
Our,
wear
our
skinny jeans no matter what.
Yeah, skinny jeans are just regular jeans for fat people.
Yeah, exactly.
It looks like my and Filipino calves are big, so when you see skinny jeans on a Filipino guy, it looks like his calves swallowed a gazelle. You know, so you got now it's bell bottom. So there's no difference between that and comedy. Comedy changes as well as clothes and style. So right now we're kind of like in the Kill Tony stage of where it's more edgy comedians are probably more popular these days. Where Jim Gaffigan, Seinfeld were the clean comics in the 80s.
Mhm.
That was big. So we go through changes like style and some if you don't understand comedy, you won't get why certain comics are a little bit more edgier these days or a little bit more cleaner. So you have to just evolve with it.
Right. Very good. Before I start with It's a good observation and everything. I'm really taking it all in. Before we start with your upbringing, I wanted to ask you, um, in reference to your like heroes or comedians that you sort of grew up watching, and I'm not going to say mirroring, but perhaps you got influenced by some of them. Who were they?
Well, Eddie Murphy, I think, was the start of most ethnic comedians' uh, influence. So if you saw Delirious, a lot of people came from that. Russell Peters, Fluffy, Joe Coy. And then when you see guys that were more edgier like Chris Rock, you see that as more of an influence on guys like Andrew Schultz, and
Hmm.
Seinfeld. You see the influence of that for cleaner comedians. So mine was definitely what's his name, Eddie Murphy. That's what drove me to go. I think I could do this. Then Chris Rock was the person that told me you can be edgier, not just being family friendly, and you can make people laugh at things that they may not normally laugh at. So that helped me do more Filipino jokes because when I started, nobody knew any
Right.
Filipinos are on Hollywood or on TV because none of us have got in there yet. So I would have to explain to the people Filipinos because they didn't know. And that was in the 90s. Now that most people know what a Filipino is, I don't have to do that anymore. So at that time, Chris Rock was the influence on me because he was like, hey, if you can make people laugh with edgy political material, I can make people laugh with something they don't know as well, like Filipinos. Then, those are the two biggest influences I had, Eddie Murphy and then Chris Rock.
Fantastic. Two greats, bro. No less. Congratulations on Why You Should Never Cross a Filipino special. I gathered, I got watched a good half of it, and I really enjoyed, all of it. And you're quick witted, and it's fast, and it's very, very, cool in that you showcase your ethnicity. So kudos to that because you're almost in making sort of lightly fun of it, you are also, or rather, let me reframe that, or you makes a great observations and they're thoroughly funny, but at the same time, you teach those that probably don't know about your culture somewhat, right? Isn't that the
Yeah,
case?
that's like 25% of my act. So my
Mhm.
25% of my act is being Filipino and showing the latest, greatest Filipino jokes. And then there's other parts of my act that has nothing to do with the Filipino topic, but it still
Mhm.
comes from a Filipino point of view.
Yeah. Did you ever like George Lopez coming up?
I wasn't. Uh, it's not that I was a fan of his. I just never really got
Mhm.
into stuff.
Right.
Yeah,
Okay.
I mean, I liked it, but it wasn't really my the things I
Right.
loved. I liked Chappelle, or I mean, I liked Eddie Murphy, Chris Rock, and then eventually Chappelle and Louis
Mhm.
C.K. and different other comedians that you may not
Sure.
know. I was influenced by uh, other type of comedians. George
Right.
Lopez, great, but I mean, he was not my influence.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it's funny. Would you say that um was your dad funny at home? Like let's back up now, get into more into your early, beginnings, home against your parents. What was that like in your family, in your household? Were they into comedy or how did you even stumble upon it?
No, my parents were Filipino workers in a hospital, so they're not really funny. I mean, they were funny at home, I guess, but they
Yeah,
weren't like. I would never say they were funny people that could make people laugh. My dad was
yeah.
very charismatic. He had a Filipino business that he opened in 1965, and he got a lot of comedian customers coming out because he was very entertaining. But I mean, funny in stand-up comedy is a different thing. It's a technical thing. You don't actually have to be born funny to be a comedian, but
Right.
but to be naturally funny in life, yes, you have. That's totally different. But the
Yeah.
two types of funny. There's a funny on stage where you are technically funny. Like, here's an example. If you ask ChatGPT to give you a joke, it can give you a joke and you will laugh. Does that mean ChatGPT is actually born funny? No. There's a technique that allows
Yeah.
anybody to be funny. because it's all
Right.
so it has nothing to do with your an actual funny bone, funny
Yeah. I,
stand-up
I,
comedy is totally different. But my
yeah,
parents
I totally
were
understand.
sort of, but they weren't like funny.
Yeah, my dad is actually very funny, and he should have been a comedian, the kind of slapstick comedians from the olden days. So, some people kind of already have it in them. And like you said, there is a recipe, of course, there is a
My
recipe for
brother
stand-up.
is funnier than me in a lot of things, but he would never go on stage. So
Right.
it takes a little bit. It takes more than just being funny to do it on stage. Like being a fighter
Right.
on the street is
Hmm.
totally different from being fighter
Hmm.
on in a stage like UFC,
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
your nerves can get you.
Right.
The timing, everything is different on the stage. It has everything to do with technical uh,
Sure.
writing,
Yeah.
but mentally you can't care if you do it well or not.
Okay. That's good
Like
to know.
once you care, you will something will go wrong. You can't
Oh, interesting.
you can care a little bit, but it's kind of like if you think too much while you drive in the freeway, and go, oh my, you'll probably be smashed. If you think danger of the freeway going 100 miles an hour and people are swerving in and out, if you think of
Sure.
that concept, you're like, we could all kill ourselves right now. If you think of the concept of I'm going to fight in a ring, a boxing match,
Yeah.
you can actually think I can die. If you think about bombing in front of 1,200 people, that may stifle your performance. So you cannot think
Right.
too much about it. You have to not just do it.
Yeah. Yeah, and that goes for anything you set out to do in life, for any kind of endeavor. It could be, I mean, most specifically, we're talking about comedy in this case, which is virtually you're by yourself, and that's one of the most scariest things, that most people are more afraid of that than
It's
dying.
not scary if you are born to do it. It's scary for other people. I can't do porn, but some people are born for porn.
Yeah.
I can do stand-up comedy because I was born to do it. The way my mind thinks, first of all, it has
Sure.
nothing to do with the joke writing. It's how your mind thinks.
Wow.
It
Okay.
has nothing to do with joke writing. It's how
So
your body and mind accepts a good or bad show.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Because
Wow.
there's a lot of tough. I did jujitsu for 10 years with the Gracies, and I know there's a lot of tough people. They think they're tough, but as soon as they go in a ring, as soon as
Yes.
they fight somebody in real life that's the same size as you and knows techniques, bullies will run away from that. They cannot fight somebody they know that can challenge them. Most people that are tough and cool in high school will never do comedy because the what you can the negative part of bombing is so high that they can't deal with it. Where
Yeah.
comedians naturally don't give a fuck if they die or not. Real good comedians.
Yes.
Yeah, it's a numbers game. If you do it every day, sure you're not going to do well in some days. Sure you're going to do well in other days. You can't. You have to accept it.
Now you have a lot of chutzpah now, 30 years in and all that. Were you always like that when you set foot on the stage? Do you always see yourself driven to perfection? Like, I'm gonna be good at this shit. And you started off with that mentality early on. Or when did you realize I'm fucking good? I can do this for a living.
Well, I never thought it was good until maybe 15 years in, because what happens is you can do something, you do very well at it, but you're constantly trying to fix the problems that what you're doing. So you're not seeing you're doing well. For example, if you're a boxer and you start fighting professionally, there's going to be a lot of flaws in your performance. Like Mike Tyson was saying after he won against Trevor Burbick, they asked him, "What do you think, Customato, your trainer who passed away, and also your surrogate dad, what would he say?" He goes, "You made a lot of wrong moves on your jabs. Your head didn't bob enough." So that's what makes a great performer in anything. You're constantly trying to fix the problems. So I've never thought it was good or great. Never until maybe 15, 10 years ago. I was like, I'm pretty good at this. But you don't think of that. You think of what the problem is to make it better. I think most people think they're great and they suck. I think most people that think they suck are great. So I never thought it was that. So the mentality you're saying, I don't know who the fuck thinks that way at all. I think people that think that way are idiots. I'm great. I'm great. And then that's when they're really
Well,
stupid
they tell you, don't they tell you in high school, when you're in high school and whatnot, you fake it till you make it sometimes in any endeavor, right? You think there's no such thing?
Yeah, I mean,
Being
fake it means to me means something like when, first of all, you can't fake being good.
right.
You can't. I don't give a fuck if you think you're good. If you go on stage and you think you're good and you bomb, guess what? You're not
Mhm,
good. So you can't fake it till you make it. You know what
mhm.
you can fake? Your sadness after your bomb. You can't fake shit.
Mhm.
You can't fake shit. Like, even if you think you're, look, here's an example. Most guys in high school figure out that women like bad boys. Why? Because they're maniacal in fucking high school. For some
Right.
reason, women lose their fucking shit in high school. Teenage women are nuts. I don't know what it is. Ask Judge Judy. She knows it too. But you know,
Oh shit.
if you understand that, that a certain at a certain age, you act a certain way. I totally forgot what I was talking. What was the question?
We're talking about fake it till you make it, you
Yeah.
know?
So
Yeah.
I don't care how you try to pretend you're a tough guy or you know a woman will figure out within few hours or a day maybe if you're faking it or not.
Right.
Yeah, you can get a woman by pretending you're somebody else, but you better get them before they figure it out. You can rent a Mercedes, you can buy a rent clothes and do your hair to make it seem like you're rich or cool and can get into clubs and all that shit. But in a few days, she'll realize all this shit's rented.
Yeah.
So faking it till you make it can work within a couple days, but
Yeah.
realistically, once someone deals with you in a long period of time, they're gonna find out if you're real or not.
Right. I love it. You come across a person that's worked at this for a very long time, obviously, actually, but then also too, like the way um you go about your comedy and stuff. It's really it's really cool, man, to see you.
Thanks.
Um, you talk about your nephews and when I was trying to sneak into the house, all that stuff, dude. It's really awesome how you write your stuff. Does it take a long time for you to write your material?
Um, are you a stand-up comedian, by the way?
I tried it. I have gone on stage. I went through Rudy Moreno many years ago. God
Okay.
rest his soul. He was a dear friend of our family. So he was like family to me. And I did go through his training he had, and also Renee. She's helped me a lot to construct. But for a number of reasons, I haven't gone back on stage, and I don't know
Okay.
if
Look, the
and
reason
when.
why I'm asking is most comedians in their after 20 years do only what they want to do. When before your 10-year mark, most comedians are doing what the crowd wants them to do.
Mm,
First 10 years are kind of like listening to the crowd. Other than after that, your next 10 years, you're listening to yourself. And the last 30 years or 40 years of your career, you only do what you like. Why? Because you can't keep living life doing what everybody else wants.
that's right. That's
And
right.
by the time you're 50, you kind of are set in your ways. You know what you like. You know what you want to eat. You know how you want to travel. You know how you want to sleep. You know how you want your sex. You know how like your coffee. You kind of know exactly what you want in your 40s and 50s in comedy.
Yeah.
Before that, you're writing garbage or bullshit that has nothing to do with you.
Right.
You're doing shit that you know works. You're kind of a hacky person. You're like, hey, that works. I'll do that. I'll do that. But you're not really talking about stuff you want to talk about.
Yeah.
Because the stuff that you really want to talk about is the hardest stuff to let out because it has nothing to do with humor. It has everything to do with passion. But if
Yeah.
you are really good at something in comedy, you will add the jokes to the passion no matter what you talk about. You could talk about, durian. You could make that funny.
Yeah.
But if
I
you're
love that.
writing for the audience and go, I think the audience will like this, you're never going to be a great comedian. You'll be a comedian that works on cruises.
Yeah. Yeah, so you're appeasing to people rather than being authentic. And I think you're more authentic
Well, here
as
the
yeah.
difference between real stand up I find is in the comedy clubs and where people pay to see a performer. The
Mhm.
fake stand up are really colleges, cruises, and corporates. Not that it's fake; it's they're dictated by the audience's reviews.
It's
If the
interesting.
audience doesn't know anything about comedy, how can they review comedy?
So
But
true.
but that's what they do. Your
Yeah.
job depended on what the audience thinks of you in a cruise, corporate show, or college. And they don't know anything about comedy, but you have to make them laugh. So what happens? You can't do anything too good, too
Mhm.
edgy, too great, because they'll miss that or they won't like that.
Right.
So you're
Right.
now second guessing everything you do, and you're going to be a second rated comedian. But a great comedian accepts who they are and challenges himself in doing things that nobody really talks about, which is what they really love or hate. And that's the real comedy. Because if you do comedy just to make people laugh, it's totally different from, look, you buying clothes at Walmart, that's just to clothe you. It's not fashion.
Right.
But
Right.
you go to a mall and you go to the H&M and the Zara's and all, then you're actually dressing somewhere, buying things that look good for the rest of the population compared to the rest of the population. There's no
Right.
difference. Comedy club like Laugh Factory, Comedy Magic Club, Ice House, fucking the Store, or any comedy club that people go to in every major city than a barn or a bar or a place in a community center in the middle of nowhere. That's not real comedy. It's comedy,
Okay.
but it's comedy as the art form. It's just feed them, but don't give them good food.
Get it. Wow. That's interesting. I never heard anyone say this. Good stuff, Ron. Good stuff.
It's not. It's just talking that what I've learned in the last 30
Yeah.
years. You
Yeah.
know, you're talking to somebody that hasn't stopped for 30 years. So this is what you get when a comedian doesn't make it. They have so much information. It's like somebody that played Street Fighter for 40 years, 30 years. They're so good at it, but who gives a shit, right? Nobody knows that person.
Yeah. Um, I'm intrigued, bro. Like, I really like your perspective, and obviously, for obvious reasons, you've lived through a lot of stuff. So, how many hotels have you gone through? How much booze have you gone through when you go through every fucking nook and cranny in the United States and maybe even Canada?
Well, I mean,
Not sure.
I really don't know how to answer that. Okay, do the math.
Lots.
30 years, a
Wow.
hotel at least 2 weeks of the month.
Holy
So you're
motherfucker.
talking about two a month. No, not even two. 2 weekends. So that's six a month times 52 weeks times 30 years. So that's if you want to calculate how many hotels I've been, multiply 6 times 52 times 30.
Wow, Ron.
No, no, do it right now because you asked. If you have a calculator,
I
do it.
don't have the tools to do it, the calculator.
You asked the question, so I want to find
I
out too.
know.
You're asking.
Well, I'll tell you this much. I'll definitely do the calculations and send it to you via text after the fact or email it to you.
Doing it for the show, doing for me. You're asking questions that are very interesting, but you want to know the answer. Let's find out if you have a calculator.
Like yeah, it's funny. Um, I have to tell you, you know, when you're on these when you go to these different shows, it's not every obviously you don't travel with the group after you obviously travel by yourself for most of the time, right? You travel solo. How do you keep yourself entertained outside of the phones and the laptops and whatever else? Do you play chess and do you hang out with other comedians, I would imagine, or is there any cattiness amongst each other? You learn to just be whatever, like you want to hang out, we can hang out, or you get over time, you guys have a camaraderie, I suppose. How do you keep yourself motivated to do these shows every weekend outside of the pay?
That's a weird question. I really don't. So okay, this is what I do. Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, I'm getting paid as a comedian, and so 1 week a month I produce my own shows. The second week, I get booked by an agency. The third week, I get booked from a corporate cruise or college to make big money. And then the fourth week, I practice throughout the whole week in Hollywood, right? So you're busy. Like, I'm on the road from Thursday to Sunday every week. I'm so busy that by the time I get to my bed, I just sleep, So I'm doing radio, I'm promoting shows every day, I'm making videos to go viral. I'm constantly getting back to agents. Like, you understand how much you don't have time for nothing, right? And the social
And
life has to be jammed in there. So the Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, when I'm in Hollywood, I do the shows in the clubs with other comedians, and that's it's fun because you get to meet each other again. Hey, how was the road? How was this? How was that? You kind of
yeah,
connect with that whole week, and then you're gone again. So the comedian lifestyle is you're alone in the weekend, which is great because we want to be alone. And then during the weekday, you're actually doing shows, but that's your social life. So that's all you do. Like if you ask a bodybuilder, what do you do for fun? Nothing. What the fuck are they gonna do? They have to be in the gym fucking every day. What else do you
24/7.
do? So
Yeah.
you're asking me, what do I do outside of this? Nothing. Nothing.
Okay.
There's no fun.
Seriously.
This is
So
this
you
is
have no wife, no
this,
girlfriend, no nothing,
no,
bro?
no, this is what you do.
Wow. It's a grind. You weren't kidding.
No, man. Like, I mean, ask anybody that works in a fucking jail cell, anybody that works as a cop, everybody. I mean, it's anybody that has their own business is a 24-hour
Yeah.
business,
I
and you
owned a business
hit yourself
before.
and not get out of it. If
Yeah.
anybody ran their own business, they go, hey, do you have time to do anything? Not really. We can maybe I can have a little dinner party once a month, but really every day is a working. The hard part about being a comedian is you think at the beginning it's a fun thing to do because you could just make money on stage and then the rest of the time you just have fun and do whatever you want. No, you find out it's a 24-hour business that you have to commit to,
Right.
or everything will fall down. I'm not just having fun. This is 100% hard work.
Yeah.
There's
A
no
lot
fun.
of
I don't know where the fun's coming in, but on stage is where you have fun. You know,
yeah.
you can meet people after the show and hang out.
Yeah.
Maybe
Do
hook
you
up
do
with
that?
some. But that's tiny little stuff.
So do you do it's like minutia,
Comedy,
but do you hang out
comedy
with
into comedy and that's it kind of thing.
do you hang out with people after the fact? Do you like with ladies or anyone you meet? No.
No, they're idiots. Anybody that wants to hang out with a comedian after the show is crazy. Yeah, I mean, if you want to hang out on the show, that's fine, but we're not going to be as funny as we are on stage, and sometimes they expect that energy, And
Yeah.
as much as you can, but it's a lot. I mean, look, this is how comedy works for entertainers. If you were a player before you were entertainer, you're gonna
Yeah.
multiply that by 10 times as many women as you used to get. If you were not a player and you were just a regular dude that just liked to just hang out, whatever, it's still gonna remain the same. Now you'll have more opportunities for sure, but you're just not gonna be doing that as much because it's not who you are, right?
Right.
So it all depends on who you are. Some people I know love to
Yeah.
fucking go out after the show and pick up, and deal with get hooked up with some women or men, whatever. I know
Yeah.
men and women that hook up with people after the show all the time,
Yeah.
right? That's part of
It's
the perks of being on stage, where at the end of the night, a lot of men and women want to be with the person that that was most was the star of the show or whatever.
par for the course kind of thing, huh? Yeah.
Yeah, but again, some people go, that's a lot of work because I'm tired after the show. I just want to go. I want to go to a hotel and
Yeah.
chill. There's a lot of people like that. There's like 50-50. There's some people that are
Yeah.
partiers that will always be partiers, and some
Yeah.
people are not partiers who will always never be a partier. So
I
you're
maybe
just
like the kind of person that takes it way more serious. You're not about the partying. You're just about getting out there and bringing in the
No,
breaking
no,
in the
no. I'm
money.
being serious for this podcast because I'm trying to tell you information. If
Yeah,
you knew me outside of this, I'm different. I'm just being serious for you for this show. I'm
yeah,
telling you're
yeah,
asking me serious questions, so I'm giving you serious answers.
yeah,
This,
yeah.
this is not a joking podcast like another podcast.
No, no.
Because if you came up with a joking energy, my joking energy will come out. But you came up with more
Okay.
a serious energy.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I kind of want to know where. Yeah. So basically, pick your brain about things because then folks that watch it really get an inside look, a bird's eye view of what it's like to be a comedian and whatnot. And you and I could jump on another show and shoot the shit the whole time and just fuck
Yeah,
around.
I mean, definitely, I'm a joker too. But I mean, if you're gonna ask me serious questions, I'm gonna be as
Yeah,
serious to give you the
yeah,
right answers.
completely. I totally get it. I know a few comedians that I've met over in my time in my day, and a lot of them are very serious too. Like you think they're gonna go up there and they're not a fucking jester either. Hey, why don't you do that bit you did up there? Come on, dude. A lot of them are
Well, I mean,
serious.
it's kind of like that. Some bits have a TED Talk uh, energy, a quality. Yeah, because
Yeah,
if you talk about something serious and you're trying to make fun of that, there has to be a serious tone to it.
right.
But if you don't want to talk about some serious, and you can say you want to talk about nostalgia. Do you remember this time? Remember we used to do this? Remember we used to do that?
Yeah,
That's more of a fun energy. Or you tell stories about
exactly.
your family. That's a fun energy. Or if you're like Jared Carmichael, or let's say who's another edgy comedian, the guy that dated Amy Schumer. What's his
Yeah, I
name?
know what you're talking about.
What's his name? The guy that dated Amy Schumer. What's his name?
Amy Schumer's ex.
Ex-boyfriend. He's like a good-looking white dude. Anthony Jeselnik. So if you watch Anthony Jeselnik, he's a one-liner guy, but he specifically picks topics that are really uh, like they're very edgy, like racist, sexist, misogynist, LGBTQ plus negative. Like he'll start,
Really?
and you're in so much shock that he's talking about this, but because the punchline is so great, he's just joking and he's not racist.
Right.
So it all depends on what your comedy is. And if
Yeah.
you're asking me questions about my job, so I have to be serious to answer
Right.
this,
Right. Right.
because you're literally giving me an interview of what makes comedy. I have to give you
Yeah.
an honest reaction to it.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. I love it, man. I love it. I know we can always jump on another day and just fucking shoot the shit. I'm all, watch some of my stuff and it's out there. If you had a couple comedians like Brandon Johnson on there,
Mhm.
fucking just shoot the shit. It's funny. It's fuck,
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, this is more, I guess, would be more of an informative thing.
Yeah, I like that. To tell you the truth, I like it because I'm as a as you're a Canadian Filipino American, you and I we have parallels in that my mom was a Guatemalan Jew, my dad's Hispanic, Mexican. I was born in East LA, so
Right.
I like to see the parallels. So it's kind of like I like to talk about serious stuff with people
Yeah. So
that
you started in LA, and
Lincoln Heights. Yeah, I grew up
you're
in
born
Lincoln
and
Heights.
raised in East LA. It's
Lincoln
weird
Heights.
because when I moved to LA, I've never met real gangster cholo comedians,
Oh, you
and
didn't?
I was like, you guys are some like I hung out. I still hang out with a lot of comedians that are, you know, again, I'm urban. I was born in
Yeah.
the hood, so I connect with a lot of the guys like that too. And then I'd have a converse. This is my conversation. Like, how was your weekend, man? I'm like, good. I was just in Canada. What'd you do? I just came out of jail. I'm like, oh, how was that? And he goes, I had to beat some guy up. I go, why? Because he didn't flush the toilet while you shit. I'm like, okay, well, I had to pick roses and apples with my brother. Like we didn't even care. It was like,
Yeah,
that's your life.
yeah,
And
dude.
I have to accept it because we were comedians, and in no other form of life I would have met that guy who
Yeah.
told me he had to beat somebody up because he didn't take a shit and flush at the same time, a courtesy flush. I didn't even know there was such thing as a courtesy flush until I moved to LA. it was the Cholo comedians that were telling me all this crazy shit.
Yeah.
You
Ruben
know?
Moreno had a lot of them on his what was it Wednesdays Latino
Oh yeah,
night
and
or
Ice
yeah,
House. I
back in
used
the
to hang
day.
out almost every Wednesday there with Edwin San Juan. Edwin's the one who brought me into Ice House in 2000 or 1999.
Wow.
I got past there by Jan Smith because Edwin's kind of like the Cholo Filipino comic.
Yeah.
He grew up in, he grew up in, where is it? Oh, fuck.
It wasn't
Cerritos.
oh shit,
And then,
Cerritos out of
and then,
square.
then Jeff Garcia was his boy. So,
Oh, rest in
so
peace. There's
those
two Jeff
guys,
Garcias, right? I think there's two comedians. Jeff, one of them passed away, right? The guys
yeah,
who
that's
do
what
the
I'm talking. He
voiceover
was,
down.
he was like him, Willie Barcina,
Yeah,
those,
yeah.
uh,
Funny dude from East
yeah,
LA
those
too.
guys were like the OGs, second OGs from, the guys that before them, like Paul Rodriguez, so they were
Yeah,
like the
oh,
second
dude.
tier of OGs.
That's
So
so cool,
those are the
man.
guys that I was working with when I first moved to LA in the late '90s. I was working all the Cholo rooms because I could only get on there.
Was
You
the
know
actor Rivera was also doing stand-up comedian comedy, right?
who?
Rivera, Sons of Anarchy.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he's also a comedian, dude. He's like hard up. And then I saw some of his stand-up. He's a really nice guy, stand-up cat.
Oh yeah.
That's so cool, man. Yeah, so Sparza, Fluffy, Sparza, all those cats would go through there, right?
Oh yeah.
And
Those guys were like Esparza, Garcia, Jeff Garcia. They all came from like opening for Fluffy. Because
yeah,
Fluffy was kind of the after Paul Rodriguez, Carlos Mencia, Fluffy, and Pablo Francisco and Lopez were kind of
funny
like that
dude.
next tier guys.
Yeah,
Then Edwin San Juan and a bunch of guys were below them, and then I was below these guys. So Edwin was kind of like the guy that helped me, and then
it's very
Joe
cool, man.
Joe Coy wasn't in the scene yet. He was in Vegas, and then he
Yeah,
moved to LA, and then he literally blew up within years. But
funny guy too, man. Funny fucking dude.
well,
Um,
he's naturally funny and he's a natural business person. And if you're not a business person as a comedian today, you're not going to get it. You'll do 2, 3, 5, maybe 5 years, maybe
mhm.
10, but you're not going to keep going after 40 because you need to be a business person in this now.
Yeah. You notice there's a lot of new cats like Baca's really been around for a while and he's funny. And Concrete, they do a lot of the skits on TikTok, I think. And
Yeah,
uh,
but Renee Vaca and Jack were kind of like this, and then Renee took off, and then Concrete, and then there's a couple other guys that are kind of like that, but Renee's probably the biggest right now. You
San
know,
Fernando, funny dude,
yeah.
fucking
But
funny.
again, is it funny or is it what they're doing in business that made the difference? Because everybody's funny. You got
Everyone's
to be
funny.
able you got to be able to have a connection outside of being funny to make people come to your show. People that go to your show, it's not the fact that you're funny because they would go to everybody that's funny show. You're saying something serious that's hitting their brainwave to make them buy a ticket like a zombie. That has nothing to do with funny. It has
It's,
everything to do with doing what politicians do.
yeah.
So Zhao Ying Summers right now and all these other, they're doing things that politicians do, like Biden and Trump, to become famous and go viral and get votes. That has nothing to do with funny.
Right.
Funny is not part of comedy marketing.
Yeah. Yeah. There's
Comedy
people that aren't
marketing
even
is,
funny that are pretty famous
yeah.
too,
So
that are making money.
you can't say the reason why Renee or Joe Coy or Fluffy is big is because they're funny. No, everybody's funny. They did something in marketing that allowed. Look, hamburgers all taste the same. I don't give a fuck if you're Burger King, McDonald's, Tommy's. But what you do to the burger to make it marketable has
Yeah.
nothing to do with the taste. What you do to make your fucking comedy marketable has nothing to do with the fucking funny, bro. It's who you endorsed, who
Yeah.
endorses you, how you put your money in marketing that makes you famous. You think, there's so many more funny people I know than who's famous right now. But they'll
Wow.
never get there because they don't have the marketing skills and don't have the money to market themselves.
Wow.
And the truth is, funny is no different from fucking hamburgers. They
Yeah.
all taste good. It's how you market the fucking hamburger.
Right.
Because
Because you
every
know
year
what?
there's a new version, smash burger, a fucking thing burger. It's the same fucking shit, bro.
Yeah. 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 I hear you, man. That's good. That's words to live by. You heard
If
that, man.
someone said to me today, I want to start comedy, I go, well, take a business course, bitch. I'm being such an asshole with my
I
responses.
love it. I
And
love it.
I'm not an
That's
asshole.
good.
I'm so nice.
No, I know you're not.
I'm just really passionate and serious of what I do, and I hate
Yeah.
people that don't get the correct information. Everybody has misinformation. I get it, but
Yeah.
I'm giving you so much serious information that's no
Good
bullshit,
stuff. A lot of
right?
good nuggets, bro. A lot of
But
fucking
it
nuggets.
comes with a fucking bitter taste.
Shit. Dang, dude. Fuck. So, Ron, what's up? What's next for you, man? Let's put
Suicide.
let's plug in your business right now. What's
Okay,
next for you, bro? What you got going on?
so I got a world tour coming up in January. So
Very cool.
January, the month of January, I'll be in Asia. The month of February, I'm going to be in Australia, and the month of March, I'm going to be half in Europe, uh, and the other half would be the Middle East. So that's coming up. So we're setting up the dates now, but in the next few months, this weekend, I'm going to be at Flappers at the Six. We're doing a Filipino
Yeah,
comedy show for the Filipino Independence Month. And
very
then
cool.
we're doing the same thing the week after. Me and Vince Royale are going to be in New York City in a comedy club called St. Mark's on St. Mark Street. And then after that, I'll be in Ottawa, Canada, doing, again, Filipino National Independence Month shows in Ottawa Yuck Yucks. That would be 26 and 27. And Sacramento, Laughs Unlimited, 19 and 20. That will be for Filipino Independence Month. So every weekend
Yeah,
this week for 4 weeks, I'm doing a show for the Filipinos.
for your peeps, bro, for everybody. That's fantastic.
Yeah, man.
Hey, let me ask you this. So, were your parents like, did they have like an alternate sort of universe for you, so to speak, to say, I want you to go in a different direction, or were they perfectly fine with you pursuing what you wanted to pursue early on?
My parents don't. So my parents were kind of like entrepreneurs in Canada. So they opened up the first Filipino business in
Very cool.
1960s and 70s. So they were
Very fucking
supplying
cool.
Canada Filipino food
Very
for
cool.
Filipinos that never got it. Both of them worked in the hospital industry, nurses, obviously. And my dad became a manager that was hiring Filipinos. So he brought around 50,000 Filipinos from Philippines to North America to work as a nurse for nurses. And so after he brought all those Filipinos, he said, fuck this, I'm quitting and I'm going to sell them Filipino food because I brought them here because they couldn't
Smart.
get it. And then
Smart.
he became a millionaire in the 80s.
Fucking smart, dude. Your pops. You have a sense of business as well, man. I know it. I can
Well,
see it.
I mean, I probably do, but I haven't used it as much as my dad. My dad figured out early how to make money. He was like, "Oh,
Yeah.
there's Filipinos that don't have Filipino food. Let me hire more and then sell it to them."
The need. He realized there was a need, dude.
Yeah,
And
but but he also brought the
created
Filipinos
the need.
here, so
He created the need.
he created the need.
Yeah, exactly. He supplied it.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
that's him. That was what he did, and then so when I was growing up, he was like, go to school, do that, and then when I said when I was 18, I want to be a comedian. He's like, sure, do it. And there was a moment where he was like, if you don't make a lot of money doing this, are you gonna keep doing it? I'm like, no. I was like, okay. And I started making a living out of it. Then he was like, okay, do it. But if I wasn't gonna make a lot of money doing it or making a good living doing it, I would stop. And my dad would probably be he would say stop if you don't because you're going to be homeless while you're doing this. So you have to be practical. You can't just
Yeah,
choose a career and not
yeah,
make money out of it and think you could do it for the rest of your life. That's impossible. It's like,
yeah.
I want to be a basketball player. Okay, well, you got from 17 to around 25
Yeah.
to get in, and then you probably can go till 35, and then that's it. And you can't say that at 30. I want to be a basketball player. You're 30, bro. You can't. You got to be realistic of the job you choose.
So you can do this for another 20 years flat, you think?
Well, you can do it as long as you have a fan base. You
Yeah,
can't. Nobody's gonna hire a fucking 60-year-old in a comedy club that nobody knows.
yeah, yeah.
You better. Here's the thing. Comic clubs usually have. There's two types of comic clubs. There's ones that hire the good-looking young kids, so it's an easy sell. It's an easier sell than old people. Or they hire famous comedians and they give them a door deal.
Right.
There's nothing in between.
Yeah, yeah,
There's
yeah,
no old comedian that's hot.
yeah.
There's no such thing as that. You
How
either
about
a
Paul
famous
Rodriguez?
motherfucker or you're a good-looking motherfucker. You're not. It
Paul
has nothing
Rodriguez.
to do with funny. It's how you're.
But
It's how
Paul
the look.
Rodriguez has been famous forever too, though. Um, Let me ask you this, bro. Like in terms of what you can and cannot say, how do you feel? Is there things you can say now you couldn't say like maybe 10 years ago, perhaps, or 15,
Um, are
or
you talking
vice
about the call? Are
versa?
you talking about call out culture, or what I could
Yeah,
say about my life that I?
call out culture. For example, you say something,
Well, back
not
then you could say.
motivation.
Back in the '90s and 2000s, you could say anything you wanted.
Yeah,
These days, you're walking on a tightrope, right? So if you don't write your jokes in a certain kind of order, or like you have to write it and be sensitive about the wording,
yeah, yeah.
right? Unless you want to play the road, because the road is like the 1980s. They don't give a shit anymore. They still don't give a
Oh,
shit. Or if you
really?
like, yeah, I mean, the road. Have you been in a small town? Have you seen their clothes? Their clothes and comedy is the same shit. It's the 80s.
Oh, dude, it's
Good
interesting.
comedy is only in big cities because big cities have people that have a lot of money and they could use it for art and go. So when you have excess amount of money and you don't have to worry about your paychecks, you don't have to worry about your bills, you can go enjoy yourselves and watch art. Let's go to a movie. We'll go art gallery. We'll go to a comedy show. If
Yeah,
you don't have
act
a lot of
ones.
money and you live in a small town, you know what your art gallery is? Fucking Jimmy's backyard.
Yeah, yeah.
You know what your strip club is? Fucking the bar that turns into a strip club at night. You
The
know?
lady with one eye, right? And one
Yeah.
fucking dead
So
eye.
the comedy you're gonna get is no different. It's not gonna be
Yeah,
great.
most
You're
definitely.
not gonna
Yeah.
see great comedians go into a small town and kill. They're gonna not do well because they're connected to escargot comedy, where these people are connected to hamburgers and hot dogs. They're not gonna
I
get it.
think you're craving a burger, Ron. You're craving a burger. That's
No, I
a
think you're
third
projecting. I think
reference to the
you're
burger.
craving food right now. I'm fine, dude. I'm using the analogies of food so you understand.
Nice. Like that, dude. Um, Let me ask you something, Ron. What do you think about, our culture in terms of right now, it's heightened with this whole political, deal going on and the shift and you've been in LA. How do you feel about, I mean, I know politicians are very much alike in so many ways. They say the pretty words, but sometimes with no substance. Are you voting? How do you
Well,
feel
I'm
about
not allowed to vote because I'm a Canadian citizen.
Okay, so you don't have the dual citizenship.
No, I'm still
Okay,
Canadian that works under a visa, right?
got it. Okay.
Yeah, but even then, it's easier for people that have visas in this country than have
Mhm.
green cards because they know you don't really live here because you don't have permanent residence, so they'll know you're gonna go back home and send eventually. When
Mhm.
you have a green card here, they can deport you somewhere. So here's an example. One of my friends had a green card, and he was an ethnic comedian, and he was detained for 3 hours. So he missed
Oh,
all his shows. They allowed him to come to America, but it's like it's too late now. I missed all my shows.
my
Right?
God.
And then here's another example. I was driving from La Jolla Comedy Store from San Diego, going up to LA after the show around 12 p.m., and I was pulled over by the border security officers. And border security officers kind of act like ICE, but at the border. The ICE goes in the city, and the are in charge of immigration, but border security is in charge of immigration at the border, illegal aliens, whatnot. I was detained for 4 hours because they wanted to deport me to Mexico. How many times do I have to tell them in Filipino? But because they kind of don't have a
You got a Mexican tan, bro.
dude. It doesn't matter if you're brown, you're a Mexican here,
You
and
go to Mexico, bro.
they don't want Mexicans here right now for some weird
Yeah.
reason.
Yeah.
Even though this was Mexico,
Right. Makes no
and now the
sense.
Mexican friends of mine that are voting for the right are also getting deported. So
Yeah.
what the hell's going on? I don't know what's going on. I just know that the only reason I'm still here is because it was a half Filipino. Okay, the only reason I'm still here is because it was a half Filipino and black sergeant who came out and he had to question everything because I hadn't. He goes, "Where's your passport?" I go, "I don't travel with a passport." He goes,
Right.
"Well, you should, because you're not from here." I don't know this shit. So they're literally going to deport me somewhere. And then the Filipino black sergeant or whoever was in charge came and started looking at me. He goes, "So you're not Mexican? No. You're not coming from Mexico? No. Or where are you from? I'm Canadian, but my parents are from the Philippines." And he goes, "Okay, mine are too. Whereabouts?" I go, "My mom's from Cebu." He's like, "My mom's from Cebu too." So we started looking at pictures of Cebu, and he was like, "Oh, I'm gonna actually be there in January." I go, "Me too." He's like, "You know what? Can you show me some Filipino places? I'm gonna bring my wife." I go, 100%.
Wow.
That's why I'm here.
Unbelievable.
They were
Dude.
gonna deport me. I was already 4 hours. I was surrounded by. There was a guy with a gun that was telling me everything. He's like, "They're gonna detain you. You're gonna be in jail for a couple of days. They were gonna book you and then deport you." So they don't
Shit.
give a shit.
Yeah, you don't.
You know,
Zero shit.
and here, and I got a lot of MAGA family members and friends that fight that, and we're still friends. But they're taking it to a level where they're like, "Well, then it's your fault." I go, "Why is that my fault?" "Well, you
What the
should
fuck?
walk around with your papers and you should never, you should speak properly." I go, "What? Speak properly? What the fuck are you talking about?" You know how many more Mexicans I see right now that sound white because of ICE?
Yeah.
I see them walking. There's no more bump in their walk, and then
No.
they're ordering food like a white person in Mexico. "Can I have one cerveza, por favor?" I go, "Why
Yeah.
are you acting like that?" "Well, I have to act like I'm white now."
It's insane, dude.
Yeah,
It shifted
yeah,
the culture. Fuck.
yeah.
It's like a culture clash.
Latinos that
It's
I
been an
think
interesting
I think
show. It's
ICE
been
is
a great
listening to
fucking
us.
show, though, nevertheless.
I think
Great
ICE is
fucking show.
listening to us.
I think so. Hey, Ron, you got to do this again. Let's do part two.
Yeah, when
Uh,
I'm deported, I'll do a video with me in El Salvador going, "Yo, I'm getting banged right now."